I'm the Black Bandit KJ Green, and welcome you to another edition of Sports from the Hoodwood. Coming up this week, I'll chop it up with Darrel Wiley, my longtime bud, friend, compadre, and sports aficionado. We'll talk about the Super Bowl it was and the boredom that it may have produced. We'll also chop it up on some college basketball. Is Gonzaga the team to beat this year? Have that, really goofy head slap, and the final word from Wood. All coming at you. What's Hoodwood? Buckle your seatbelts. Get ready. Let's go.
You're tuned in to Sports from the Hoodwood, the internet's foremost location for the most honest, unfiltered commentary and insight on the world of sports. Now, once again, here's Hoodwood's hometown hero, KJ Green.
Greetings from Hoodwood, where the natives are trying to dig out of a Midwestern snowstorm, and somewhere a groundhog is sitting back with a Cohiba or Macanudo saying, y'all ain't blaming me for this shit. I don't want to hear it. It's the boy KJ once again, and as we're continuing with the rotation of co-hosts, I welcome a good old friend of mine. He's not old, he's actually younger than me, but either way, I've known him for a long time. He's always good to chop it up about sports. My man Darrel Wiley. Dub, good. Welcome to the Hoodwood. You've done this show before, so you know the procedure. How you doing, soul brother?
Hey, not too bad. Glad to be here. Thanks for the invite.
I'm not going to say anything about the Celtics or anything like that. It's like, I'll just leave it. We'll talk about another Boston transplant who moved to Tampa, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning a rather boring Super Bowl, 31-9 over the Kansas City Chiefs. I was rather disappointed by the outcome. And of course, what I said here last week, the prediction sure to go wrong. I said Kansas City was going to win, ignoring the fact that their offensive line just basically sucked. And Patrick Mahomes was running for his life pretty much the whole way. What did you think about the Super Bowl? Did you think it would come off the way you thought it was going to come off? What did you think?
I originally picked Kansas City to win. But at the same time, because they basically had a new offensive line, I don't know what Andy Reid was thinking. He moved the guards to tackle their unnatural position. The original starting center, if I'm not mistaken, he set out due to COVID reasons from the start of the season, right? And then with both of the natural natural tackles being injured, it was just a recipe for disaster. So now you have two backup tackles and two backup guards, essentially. Even though you moved the starting guards to tackle, it was just all bad. It was all bad, and it showed.
What I didn't understand with Eric Fisher being out in the AFC title game with a Achilles tear, which we knew that was going to affect the Chiefs. The Chiefs seemed like once Fisher was down, the whole line just basically went to hell in a handbasket. And the Bucs, they have good defensive presence. Shaq Barrett, JPP,
especially Shaq Barrett and JPP, especially.
They have a defensive presence, and everybody knew that. But to have them face a decimated Chiefs offensive line, and you look at it, and basically Mahomes was running for his life the whole game, and he got off a couple of throws that he didn't even deserve to get off. And the one where he was running and literally almost like he underhanded the ball and threw it sidearm almost 35 yards, and it hit, I think it was Kelsey or Tyreek Hill in the face. Hit him in the face mask. And I'm thinking, what kind of freak athlete is Patrick Mahomes to be able to get that throw off? Because 90% of the NFL quarterbacks, I shouldn't say 90%, 31 other NFL quarterbacks, maybe Lamar Jackson, and that's pushing it. Maybe somebody like Deshaun Watson might have been able to get that throw off. But the way Mahomes was Mahomes is a freak of nature. Let's just call it.
Absolutely. He definitely is that. And I think that if he had a fully intact offensive line, even partially intact offensive line, that game ends a whole lot different.
Do you think that Andy Reid's resistance to go into the running game hurt the Chiefs? Because I'm looking at Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Le'Veon Bell. I think Chiefs fans were going around Tampa, going around Raymond James Stadium with a picture of Le'Veon Bell saying, have you seen our running back? Anybody? Because
Right.
he didn't get any carries. Clyde Edwards-Helaire had about 80 some odd yards. They didn't use the running game to the effect that they could have taken some of the pressure off of Patrick Mahomes. And it seemed like all Patrick Mahomes was doing was running for his life. And within the Buccaneers defense basically pinned their ears back and went after. And do you think that their defense was the key in that game, or did it make it just that much easier for Tom Brady, who had, I would say, and I mean, he did decent. I mean, he won MVP. He had a great passing day, but do you think it was defense that won it against a decimated Kansas City offense, or do you think Tom Brady was the actual key to winning that game?
It was definitely the defense. And then also Andy Reid's unwillingness to actually run the ball more. Because when you're in a cover two, you have to run the ball and get them up out of the cover two. It's imperative that you run the ball. Right. And his unwillingness to commit to it and fully commit to it at times definitely did him in. But the defense was definitely the biggest key. Because again, our 3 red zone possessions ended in field goals, and they had so many drives that ended up stalling just because the defense was just tremendous, you know?
Right.
And then too, where the defense didn't quit on a couple of those turnovers, that was just like the one that was batted and the angle at which he had the second interception. The angle at which he had to catch that ball. I mean, that's a heck of a football play.
Right.
Just a heck of a football play. You know, and that pretty much sealed it at that point. So it was already over. But yeah, it's definitely on the defense. Taking nothing away from Tom Brady and the offense. But their defense showed up and showed out, you know?
Now, looking at Tom Brady, he had a phenomenal game. Well, like I said before, he was named MVP. Using Rob Gronkowski. Now, Bruce Arians had been pretty much hesitant to use a tight end as anything other than a blocker. But here's Rob Gronkowski creeping across the back of the end zone. Boom, gets a touchdown. Here's him taking a circle route out the backfield. Boom, another touchdown.
2 tutties.
Huh?
2 tutties. And that way him and Brady call them tutties, right?
Yeah, it was. But you're looking at the offense, and I know I can't let this go. After the Bucs won the game, did the celebration. I know you was clowning on Tom Brady with the, what did you call it? Gucci Man called it white boy wasted.
White boy wasted. And he pulled up like a boss, for the record. Big yacht, nice boat, super nice. And I'll shoot him as they say, I'll shoot him a little bit of bail or give him an excuse. Drinking and being on the water, it just really exacerbates the feeling you get as far as being drunk. But the way he looked like Weekend at Bernie's, man. When they walked him off the boat, oh my God.
He looked tall from the floor up, and I'm just like, man, if it wasn't you winning your 7, he would be looking at you like Mark Madsen or something. Like,
he deserved it, though. He deserved it. He's definitely the GOAT. I have to say it. He's the GOAT. He already was, to be quite honest.
Does this make Tom Brady the GOAT? Does this make him the GOAT of football? Because I've had people throw at me, oh, well, Tom Brady was just, he fell into the right situation. He's not the GOAT, blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at it, I'm going, 7 rings as a player, Belichick has 8 rings, but as a coach, 6 of them being with the New England, 2 of them when he was defensive coordinator with the Giants.
Yeah.
But does this put him higher than and say does it make Tom Brady the GOAT? And 2, does this keep Patrick Mahomes from GOAT status because he had his 2 head-to-head shots against Brady have ended up in losses? What do you think?
Well, I think he was actually the GOAT even before this victory. I just want to kind of get that out the way first and foremost. Yeah, he was definitely the GOAT before this victory, but Patrick Mahomes is so young. The jury's still out on what he's going to still be able to accomplish and what he's still going to be able to do. I'm going to take to speak on it. I'll knock on wood for him. But as long as he's able to stay healthy, as far as just generally getting touchdowns and yards and completion percentage and those key metrics,
right,
he's going to blow those numbers out the water. The only unfortunate thing is football is the ultimate team game.
Right.
It's the ultimate team game. So if you're not good or if you're not better than your opponent in at least 2 of the 3 phases, you're going to be up against it. You're going to have some long days out there. And unfortunately for him, due to injury, their team was better in all 3 phases, to be quite honest with you. I mean, if we're comparing quarterbacks just pure talent, Mahomes versus Brady, Mahomes is definitely better.
Right.
But top 15 players, as they rank them through Pro Football Focus, which is an outlet that I really don't like, but that's a story for another day. But when you rank the top 15 players on between the Bucs and the Chiefs going into the Super Bowl, the Bucs had 10 out of the top 15.
Right.
That lets you know all you need to know right there.
Well, a lot of people were talking about the Chiefs being a potential dynasty. How you gonna be the Chiefs? How you gonna be the Chiefs? And then they were made so very mortal by the Bucs in a game that really was never really close. After maybe the first half of the first quarter, the Bucs were so that much dominant when the Chiefs scored their first points, and you're going, well, they left points on the board. They didn't score a touchdown, and then the Bucs came right down and scored, and you're going, this might be dog day afternoon for the Chiefs, because the Bucs just didn't look pressed. They were just like, okay, the Chiefs defense can't stop us. We can stop y'all. We're going to do what we want. And you're talking about being dominant in all phases of the game, offense and defense, things say special
teams. Look at the punter. Long-haired hippie guy. I can't think of his name right now. Chiefs punter. I cannot think of his name. But he shanked 2 of them off the side of his foot.
2 of them badly.
And that was after he actually got off a really good punt that he actually dropped the snap, though, right?
He dropped the snap, picked it up, got off a really good punt, but then was taken back by a penalty. And then, given a second chance, he got a clean snap and then shanked it. Meanwhile, I don't even remember the Bucs punting. I think they punted once or twice. They punted the first drive of the game because the Bucs they won the coin toss and he went 3 and out. But other than that, the Bucs were really, really dominant on both sides of the ball. That at least, and then going forward, does this make the Bucs the odds-on favorite for next year's Super Bowl? Because as soon as someone wins Super Bowl, you're thinking, okay, does this, can they repeat? Are they the odds-on favorite? Most betting places have Kansas City still as the favorite to win, and I'm thinking if Kansas City comes back healthy, especially their offensive line. Name me a team in the AFC that can beat them.
I can't. And more importantly, with the Bucs, how many of those guys are free agents? Is it 7 or 8 of them?
Yeah, they got a bunch of them.
Right.
They have a bunch of free agents.
This isn't the NBA where it's a cap-friendly situation and you can go into luxury tax. So
it's a hard cap, and you if you want to get the band back together, you're asking for a lot of financial juggling to just keep the band together, not even bringing in new people. And we're not even talking about rookies that you're bringing in, potential free agents that might want to come to Tampa Bay. Maybe it's the Tampa Bay is leaning against the cap themselves. So they're going to need to do some juggling.
So it's going to be a really interesting situation to say the least, because like I said, I want to say that they have some key players who are free agents as that. So
yeah,
it's going to be really interesting to see.
Let's take our first time out. We'll come back and we will talk about something that's near and dear to your heart, college basketball and the entire mess. And I don't want to say it's a mess, but this is an entirely different college basketball season than we've ever seen. We'll take time out, Sports Review. We'll come back.
You're tuned in to Sports from the Hoodwood, the internet's foremost location for opinion, analysis, and insight on the world of sports. Here now is the man banned from sports trivia contests in 38 states and 4 Canadian provinces, your host, KJ Green.
We are back in the Hoodwood, chopping it up with my man Darrel Wiley, and we always talk about college basketball. So basketball is something that's near and dear to my heart. My poor Bearcats having a so-so season. But Darrel, I'm gonna ask you this. Now, you know who the number 1 team in the country is, yes?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So
Zag's been number 1 pretty much and very dominant all year for that matter.
Now, once you get past Gonzaga, could you name who the number 2, the number 3 team? Could you go any further than 1?
I mean, I can because it's what I do. Right.
Oh, well, of course.
So, we got Baylor, Michigan, OSU, Villanova, Illinois, Texas Tech, and we can go on and on. But what if you notice, we didn't name any of those powerhouses that are usually littering normally the top 10 to 15 for that matter. You
could have said a year, maybe 2 years ago, yeah, I'm going to be doing a show in mid-February and the number 1 team will be Gonzaga. You might go, okay. But then you say number 2 team, Baylor. You go, Baylor is in Big 12 Baylor. If you would say number 3 would be Michigan, you go.
It's in the 90s, right?
No, wait a minute. Doesn't Fab Five come back? No, Fab Five is coaching them, which I think Juwan Howard quietly should be in consideration for Coach of the Year.
Absolutely.
For the absolute, a lot of people didn't think he was going to be able to coach, especially in the college, and being someone who he did some assistant coaching in the pros, but going from the pros to college is a totally different cat. But here he is. Michigan has 1 loss. And that's a team that is really a dark horse that maybe could go really, really deep in the tournament, with the tournament all being in Indianapolis. They could pile together 6 wins straight, not have to do any traveling.
They can.
Now, looking at college basketball, No, and you touched on it earlier. You're a Kansas fan. I mean, of
Right.
course, being a UC Cincinnati alumnus and big fan. But did you ever think that Kansas, Cincinnati, Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, I'm naming all these teams I'm naming, blue bloods, powerhouses,
Right.
all of them are unranked. Did you ever think you'd see the day that you would see teams like that? Not just one, but multiple teams having such depth. And especially, you look at Kentucky. Goodness, Kentucky. I mean, and both of us on the record, Kentucky haters.
Oh
Both of us
yeah.
have no love for Kentucky. And under normal circumstances, we be sitting there going, look at Kentucky. Y'all like some punks and busters. How that
We
like
right there with them.
But then the Kentucky fan can look at I mean, tonight's game with Iowa State being notwithstanding, they just destroyed Iowa State in the fall. And my Bearcats have won a couple of games looking ragged, but they've won a couple of games straight.
Right.
Did you ever think that you would see a team like Kentucky so weak? I mean, they get the players. I mean, who Calipari wants, Calipari's going to get every time. He's going to get the All-Americans. Krzyzewski's going to get the All-Americans. Roy Boy is going to get the McDonald's, the pick of the crop. What do you think is the commonality problem with all these teams? Is it all the one and dones that lack cohesiveness? Has the game passed all these guys by? What do you think?
It's definitely the one and done for sure. And then also when you couple that with the style of play that a lot of these kids that they're getting have. See, right now, and I don't want to speak negatively of AAU. My son plays AAU. I actually enjoy the AAU game to a certain degree. But a lot of these kids come in and they're so just raw from a talent standpoint, just completely raw. So they jump high, run super fast, but as far as being able to read and react and understand what's going on the court, if it's one-on-one, fine. But what do they do against the zone with guys who are equally as strong and fast,
Right.
So like right now, just looking at the top scorers in the NCAA rankings right now, right? You have 4 seniors and 1 freshman rounding out the top 5.
Right.
Which is kind of a not even kind of, in today's NCAA ranks, that is a rarity.
Right.
But right now, like I said, it's literally 4 seniors and the freshman over at LSU, Cameron Thomas, and he's a monster. But
right.
That rounds out your top 5 scoring right there. And like I said, you got 4 seniors in that mix. So I think that's just kind of what you're seeing. The experienced guys are definitely kind of starting to have their way and starting to just get the proper recognition. And well, not proper recognition, but they're just more skilled, completely skilled, where they actually have things that they have mastered, where I'm not a jack of all trades and master of nothing. So my mid-range is only so-so. My 3-ball is only so-so. I'm only going to shoot 70% from the line. And I might even brick a couple of dunks here and there, right? because I haven't worked on anything. I've been trying to do everything good and never really mastered anything. And I think that's what we're seeing a lot of in the college ranks right now.
You're looking at teams like Gonzaga, who Mark Few has had basically last 15, 20 years. That's basically built a powerhouse out there in Spokane. His team is senior dominated. That's not a team that has players that jump to the NBA ranks. They have players that are good enough to play in the NBA after they play 4 years of ball there.
Right.
Teams like Baylor, who have built their teams quietly, but that's a senior dominated team. Michigan's kind of the outlier. They have kind of they're not a totally young team. I mean, they're like freshman dominated, but they have a mix. Is it possible that we're seeing this pendulum swing back now to teams who have had that cohesiveness, that have that togetherness, that have played together 2, 3 years, and are dominating these teams that are more fly by night? Whereas, like I said, you have a Kentucky, yeah, they have 5 All-American, preseason All-Americans,
Right.
but they never played together, and they're not cohesive in that talent structure. Whereas Calipari can say, I can only do just so much before talent has to take over, and they have to play as a unit. Because you can't have 5 individuals playing on their own agenda. Sooner or later,
and that's
you
the
have to
key
have a
word,
team.
on their own agenda. I want to go to the next level. I've already picked out the Lamborghini truck that I want to buy when I get drafted. I already picked out the interior color and everything. So I've got to be a lottery pick now. So now I'm
They're
playing
looking at
selfish.
Kentucky as a way station to get everything, get their suits for draft night all set up. Of course, they're not going to walk across the stage and shake Adam Silver's hand. Not right now. They can do that, but they've got, everything set up. Like, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. And it's, but their game isn't translating to the point where, college, scouts are going, well, yeah, you got all this talent, but your team sucks. And we really don't want to watch you because you're not playing worth anything. Your team isn't doing the big things. Because you have players like, and I'm using Kentucky as an example. You have, Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker. You have Willie Cauley-Stein. You have all these great players that were cogs of a great team. You get noticed. When Kentucky is dominant, their players are going to get noticed. Kentucky has not been. Kentucky's 5-13, I think.
Yeah.
Duke is 7-9. Name me a okay.
Really quickly here, Kevin.
I'm sorry.
I wanted really quickly here. I did want to touch on something because you asked me, is the pendulum swinging back?
Yeah.
And I hope it is. Well, I love the opportunities that these guys get for themselves and their families, being able to go to the league. I love the league more than the idea of them being able to get paid. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I do wish that the kids would stay in college a lot longer, and that way when they go to the league, they're league ready. Because I feel like they're almost turning the league into a development league. I'll give you a great example. Last night I was watching the Suns game, and his name is escaping me. Point guard went to Villanova. Came out 2018. He's actually the player of the year in 2018.
Oh man, I can't even think of his name off the top of my head. I know exactly who you talk about.
Dad played in the league as well. But long story less long, he was drafted in the second round, right?
Right.
But he doesn't run fast or jump high. So, your upside isn't really that. It's not really that high. Where now is, he's carved out a nice little niche for himself where he'll, give the team, 15, 5, and 5 consistently. And if you give him the green light, he'll go off for more than that. But it's like, you're just kind of there's no flash, no pizzazz, right?
Certain player gets things done, but isn't the type of player that you're gonna say, even on the Suns, you're looking at Devin Booker first and foremost. You're not looking at, and like I said, the player's name escapes me. I'm seeing him play in the final. Matter of fact,
they won a title that year. As a matter of fact,
yeah, they won the title on that was Carolina that won the buzzer beater. No, DeAndre Ayton was Arizona guy. See, I'm gonna pick this out. Bridges. Mikael Bridges was the only one I got on the Suns that went to Villanova.
Was it Bridges? Wait, who did the Suns play last night?
Yeah.
Who did the Suns play last night? They
No.
played Milwaukee.
No,
they played Milwaukee. And they beat Milwaukee by 1 point last night. Did he play for Milwaukee? You know what? It's not that important. Ultimately, so like Luka Garza right now, he's leading the NCAA in scoring. He's a senior. Isaiah Ross, he's a senior. Davion Warren, he goes to Hampton, as a matter of fact. He's a senior. And then you got Michael Flowers at South Alabama, who is also a senior, right? I can almost assure you none of those guys will be lottery picks.
No.
And that's a problem, you know? And therein lies the problem. So, like I said, they're clearly talented and elite scorers, you know, at least for the system that they're playing within, which.
Well, all I got is, I mean, like you talking about players being a senior and not getting drafted or not being lottery picks. I can look no further than from my alma mater, Sean Kilpatrick scored over 2,000 points, averaged 20 in a senior year. Great shooter, great scorer, developed himself from being a redshirt freshman all the way to being one of the more celebrated players that come out of Cincinnati, playing Spain. I mean, he bounced around with a bunch of different pro NBA teams, but he's playing Spain. And
you know what? I thought I had on one of his undrafted shirts, but I don't.
Yeah, my man Terry Nelson was saying something about his undrafted type of his undrafted gear. But like I said, college, I mean, looking forward from here, I mean, isn't this Gonzaga's title to lose this year? Or is it going to be one of these? It's going to be the Wild Wild West in Indianapolis, and it's just basically going to be who gets hot. Like I said,
it's Gonzaga's title to lose. They play basketball the right way, man. They just play basketball the right way. It's a completely team-oriented game. They move the ball. Sometimes you'll actually see them running 5 out, right?
Right.
And it's like, wow, like such a simple concept, but it's like the ball is moving, everybody's moving, and we're gonna get the open cutter. It's just a great style of basketball.
Look at the college version of San Antonio Spurs from back in the day. They played the game the right way. But
exactly,
I always knock the Spurs. The media always celebrated the Spurs. I like watching Gonzaga play. Like you say, they're unselfish. They move without the ball. That's something I love to see players pass, cut, move without the ball. And they don't do it in a slow, sleepy type of way. They're moving. They're moving quick. And you're just going, wow, watch the ball move. Watch everything. Watch that offense flow. But I'm still saying that you're going to get one of these bigger schools like a Michigan or an Ohio State that is going to get in the tournament and really cause a wreck, because if Gonzaga wins the title, there's going to be the talking heads, the Colin Cowards, the Skip Baylesses, all the knuckleheads are going to knock Gonzaga as a paper champion, an asterisk champion, because they didn't win 6 games in 3 different cities. They went to Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Not used to being in the Eastern time zone. They won 3 games. That's it. And they won 6 games. That's it. They won 3 rounds and got through. The 6 rounds, but the first round weekend, the Sweet 16 Elite 8 weekend, Final Four weekend, they didn't do any traveling, and then they'll be considered paper champions. I'm not, but you know how the talking heads are going to be.
Yeah, unfortunately, and it is what it is. It is what it is.
All right, Darrel, we're going to take another time out, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk the weekly thing of fat dap and head slap. And you're a betting guy, so this is head slap.
You owe me money. We'll talk about it when you come back. We'll talk about it when you come back.
and how I owe him money. Sports from the Hoodwood continues after this.
You're tuned in to Sports from the Hoodwood, the internet's foremost location for the most honest insight, thorough analysis, and unfiltered opinion on the world of sports. Now, once again, here's the man of the hour, After Hours, your host, KJ Green.
11:30 and headed for home here in Hoodwood with my co-host Darrel Wiley. I am merely the mayor of Hoodwood, KJ Green, even though I don't espouse any political sidings or anything like that. I just figured this is my town. I run it the way I want to. And let's finish up strong with the Fat Dap and Head Slap of the Week. Fat Dap Wood. This week's Fat Dap goes to the Oklahoma Sooners women's softball team who demolished, and when I say demolished, I don't use that term in a light way. They demolished UTEP 29-0. Lord, 29-0 in 5 innings. They hit 13 home runs, 13 in 5 innings. Now, you go, oh, but it's softball. What's the big deal? I want you to try to hit the ball, even if it's bigger, in fast pitch softball. I want you to get one hit, get the bat on the ball, and you can criticize. But until then, you can't criticize. These females were rocking the ball, coming at them from 46 feet. I don't care if it was on the hand. It's moving, and it's moving fast. And the Jack, not 1, 2, 5. The NCAA record was 10 to hit 13. Wow. Fat dap to the Lady Sooners for absolutely crushing it against UTEP. Now, the head slap of the week. Now, man, Darrel, he's a betting guy. He's been known to put down some bets, and the whole thing about I owe him money because he was going to do the prop bet of if Tom Brady was going to have positive running yards.
No, not positive. Let me interrupt you there. The line was, would Tom Brady have 0.5 rushing yards? So
that's a positive running yards.
But he only needed 0.5, so basically 1 rushing yard. So I decided I would hit up the smartest football guy I know, even though I'm our fantasy football champion. That'd be me. I said, you know what? Let me ask Kevin. Kevin, will Tom Brady have 1 rushing yard in the Super Bowl?
And I said, yes, I thought he would. And he ended up having -2.
And he destroyed my parlay.
How was I to know that he would take 2 knees, which were counted as negative yards? And I still think he had 1 because I think he had a scramble. But the 2 kneel downs counted against him. That wasn't my fault. Because he did, I think if I remember rolling through the play-by-play, he did have a scramble. He did get out of bounds on 1. So
I don't know about that, but
the kneel downs weren't my fault. But that's neither here nor there. The head slap of the week goes to now. They didn't show it on the Super Bowl. Of course, they're not going to give any kind of credence to streakers or anything like that. But you did see that you didn't know that there was a streaker on the field, right?
Yeah, I saw it on the Bleacher Report. Yeah.
The guy who did the streak actually put $50,000 on a prop bet, which one of the prop bets was there going to be a streaker in the game? Not only he put the $50,000 on the bet, of course, there was a streaker. He was a streaker, got tackled, got arrested, posted $1,000 bail. He was set to make $375,000.
Man's a genius.
There was a streaker. Well, of course, the sports book that he finds out. Now, this, and I give him a head slap, not because he was a streaker, not because he put the $50,000 and was set.
So far, he sounds like a genius. Go ahead.
But he posted online the day after the Super Bowl, taking a picture with somebody saying, yeah, if this guy looks familiar, this was the streaker. The sports book finds out that this was the guy that put the bet down was a streaker and has decided they're not going to honor the bet. Darrel, as we've discussed, that you like to play parlays, I got to hear your opinions on this.
He went from genius to dumbass in 2 sentences. So just to make sure I get it all right, he found he's in a position to even be present at the Super Bowl, number one.
Right.
Blessing. That's great, right? Especially during COVID, to be able to, those tickets are harder than anything else in the world to get.
There was only 25,000 people that were there. I mean, it's 75,000.
Able to secure a ticket.
Anyway, are hard to get. But then you only have
in general, right?
A third seat, a third of the seating capacity. That's even crazy.
So you secured a ticket. You found a prop bet, and then you had the pun intended cojones to be a streaker, right? So one question. Did he have to forfeit that $50,000, or did they just give it back to him and it was all over? Or
I think he forfeited that money too.
From genius to dumbass.
I'm looking at, because when I heard about the bet, and it was like he's tried to collect the $375,000 bet, but the sports book, according to I'm looking at the article. AJ Perez and Andre placed a $50,000 bet with Bovada, an offshore sports book.
Gotcha, yes.
On a prop bet that somebody would get on the field during the game. He, as I said, with the odds being at 750 plus, was slated to make $375,000. But Bovada, of course, somebody makes that much money on a prop bet. Don't you think the sports book is going to investigate it? But my thing was, why did this fool get on social media and brag about it?
Yeah.
If anything, I get that money. I make the bet. I go low key for the longest time. I get the money, then I'm like, look at what I done. That's what
I'm not going to ever mention it. Never. It's never gonna, I beat Bovada.
No, nothing about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna find as many streaking bets as I can, and probably continue this string of just streaking.
And there were other people who placed bets on this prop and made money off of it, but then Bovada said they weren't going to honor the bet. I mean, of course, we all know with sports books and betting props and all sorts of betting institutions, the house always ends up ahead. They always have that angle to stay ahead of it.
Oh, yeah. From genius to dumbass. Wow.
Genius to dumbass. That's pretty much the way it is. We're going to take our final time out. I'll come back with the final word from the Wood. Darrel, thank you so much for joining us in the Hoodwood, and we will see you in a few weeks when your rotation comes back up as the co-host. Thank you so much for your time, bro.
Anytime.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks. Okay, let's settle the debate. Who is the greatest of all time? The true GOAT? There's one small problem with a designation of GOAT. Depends on what sport you're talking about. If you're talking about boxing, you're going to have a hard time getting past me that the greatest of all time isn't Muhammad Ali. I only have a portrait of him in my living room. If you're talking about basketball, you could argue between Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. Depends on who your thought process goes to. I'm partial to Michael Jordan, but you could sway me on LeBron James. When you're talking about golf, Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, depending on your viewpoints. If you're talking about hockey, you got to be talking about the great one, Wayne Gretzky. If you're talking about football, therein lies the rub. Because there are so many different players, and there's so many different positions, and said players don't play against one another. I mean, in boxing, you could always measure up Muhammad Ali versus Sugar Ray Robinson, though they're different weight classes, different styles of boxing, in different eras, but they're still playing the same game. With baseball, you could measure up hitters one way or the other. But again, you're dealing with different eras, different styles of game. Babe Ruth never played a team west of the Mississippi. He never played at night, and he never played players of color. Hank Aaron did. If you want to compare one to the other, you're going to have to basically look at the numbers. If you're looking at batting average, Babe Ruth takes the cake. If you're looking at hits and home runs, Hammer and Hank. But it's the numbers that you're looking at in comparison. When it comes to basketball, again, it's the numbers. Could you put Michael Jordan against LeBron James? It'd be an interesting dichotomy. Michael Jordan's last season was right before LeBron James's first season. It'd be like trying to compare Bill Russell with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Russell retired the May before Kareem broke into the NBA in 1969. You can compare eras, you compare numbers, but when it's coming to the GOAT, you have to look at one singular thing that more often than not distinguishes one from the other. Championships. How many times have you been at the pinnacle of your sport? How many times have you been the best of the best? Now, is that GOAT Tom Brady in football? Many people argue it is. Winning his 7th Super Bowl puts him near the top, if not at the top, of the great names who have played in the NFL. But many people say it's a team sport, and that Tom Brady has been more fortunate to be on very good teams that he was able to lead to championships. More often than not, the quarterback gets the lion's share and blame for its team's good fortune. Me personally, I think Tom Brady is one of the best quarterbacks to have played the game. His longevity, his consistency, and his sheer volume of statistical greatness puts him front and center at those that played his position. His spot in Canton has already been reserved. You count the 5 years from the day he decides he's going to hang it up. But that doesn't look like it's going to be anytime soon. Tom Brady's a youthful 43 and has said he will play at least till he's 45. I wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't put it past him to maybe win a couple more of those Super Bowl trophies. Would that make him the GOAT, the greatest athlete of all time? I don't know about all that, but it's going to be fun to watch him try to make a case for it. And that is the final word from the Wood. The music coming up in the background, you know that means your time in the Hoodwood is just about done. And I thank you so much for your visit this week. If you want to send me an email, please do so at kjgreen@blackbanditproductions.com. Send show ideas, comments, criticism, praise, what have you. I'll respond back as quickly as possible. I respond to every email. Show airs weekly on a number of various podcast sites. Check your local listings. We are on iTunes. We're on Google Play. We're damn near everywhere. The Hoodwood is back. You can visit the show site at hoodwoodsports.podbean.com. It has a back catalog of all the previous shows. You can visit me on Facebook, Black Bandit Productions and Enterprises. It has the weekly show, what is showing this week. That's what's showing out to the world. I am also on Twitter. I have something the president did, or I should say Trump did. I'm at KJGreen20 and KJGreenBB. Send me tweets, I will tweet you back. I'd like to give special thanks to my man Darrel Wiley for helping me co-host the show. Next week, my man Jason Wilson Jonesy will be in the Hoodwood chopping it up. We'll talk about all sorts of sports and the upcoming baseball season. That'll do it for the Hoodwood. My name is KJ Green. Until next time, fellow sports fans.
Sports from the Hoodwood is a Black Bandit Productions and Enterprises presentation of a 551 Audio and Films production.